Welcome back, you guys.
Hello and welcome back.
I'm so happy to be here with you.
Oh, so happy as usual.
As always. My name is Cyndi.
And my name is Paige.
And we are the host of
Mom's the Word.
Where mom knows best.
Or at least she is trying her best.
Yes, we are. She is.
Very tired. I'm
Yes.
tired. I'm
Yes, I
so
am.
tired.
Yeah, I'm going through a 4-month sleep regression, and I thought we'd be through it. No, we're not. I feel like there's always something coming.
Oh, every time you master something, boom, something new.
And I have 2 babies, so
Yeah.
they're 10 months apart. And so I'm like, one hits one, then the next one hits one. So sleep who? We'll sleep later.
Yeah.
That's why I nap every day. Don't hate the nap.
What do they say? You'll sleep when you're dead.
I nap, though. I'm a napper.
You are a napper, like a daily napper.
I wish you were a napper.
I do sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
I do
I'll catch you sometimes.
My problem is that sometimes I'll nap and then I'll be up until like midnight because I did take a nap and I just cannot get myself to go back to sleep. And then the next morning I'm exhausted. So it's almost like,
That is
okay,
true.
if I'm so tired that I want to take a nap today, tomorrow I'm going to feel the pain from it because I'm going to be so tired in the
I
morning.
do agree with that. Sometimes I do that to myself, especially if I get like a 2-hour nap.
Yeah.
Done for.
That, and I started getting to the habit of like when I lay the baby down, like I would nap too, and then at night I would read, and that makes it even worse because then I just read and read
Keep
and
going
read
and
and
keep
read, and then
going.
it's 2 a.m. and I'm
Right.
like, oh shit, I need to go to bed. Like I need to go to sleep.
Yeah. And so my little itty bitty, she still wakes up.
Yeah.
And so like if I stay up late till midnight, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to be up in like an hour.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, let me just stay up till then. And it's not good.
Yeah, it's never
It's
good.
It's never good.
It's like either stay up till then and you're exhausted, or fall asleep, and then like the second you fall asleep, she wakes up.
Yeah. So that's why I'm a firm believer of naps because I'm never getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Well, I will. I will one day.
It's a good way for you to reset yourself, though. You know what works for you
Oh, yeah,
and how
for
like
sure.
you show up the best.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's why you like to nap, because I know for me I'd be exhausted.
No.
So it wouldn't work for me.
Yeah. I have to take squeezes of naps in there, especially like I get really overwhelmed when my anxiety's high. I'm out.
Yeah.
Like if you see me like sleeping a long time, it's because my anxiety's high. I nap.
I will say that if I'm having like a particularly anxious like month, or I'm just going through something mentally, I do sleep a lot more. Definitely a lot more. I'll fall asleep during the day. I'll definitely nap or earlier, I should say. I fall asleep earlier at night.
Yeah.
And then I nap as well.
Same. Like sleep is like a giveaway for me. If I'm oversleeping, I'm like, oh, she's like, something's going on with her.
Yeah. That, or if I'm eating a lot of sweets, I'll suddenly start getting a lot of desserts. Chocolate makes me happier. Those are the types of things that are comforting for me.
Yeah, and then like I just get into this like scrolling TikTok at nighttime, and like I love TikTok, I'm on the app, but I will just like doom scroll, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so exciting, and then I get all these ideas, and I'll like make a list. Literally, I will make a list in my phone for all the things. Like, oh, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna try that workout. And never ends. And
It's
then
like
I'm
when you
tired.
save something to your favorites, you're like, I'm going to do this later, and you never look at that
Oh
folder
yeah, I have
again.
notes in my phone that are like, what were you talking about? Speaking of the list.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of list, hey, Jay, will you close the door?
Thank you very much.
Our door's wide open, and they're about to have lunch.
They're making
And
guacamole.
it's, they're making guac, so it's about to get loud in there. We want to talk about the baby list.
Yeah, it's been going
boundaries.
around with some new moms.
Yeah, it's definitely a newer trend
Yes,
that you
it is.
see where like moms are setting real boundaries for
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to come visit my newborn, these are the things you need.
And I'm
also
here
with
for
their
it.
kids.
I'm here
too.
for it because I feel like they've learned from like all of us mamas,
Heck yeah.
older mamas. But,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like even now I've changed my thoughts on it. So
Oh, yeah.
we want to go through that list and see what we agree with.
Yeah, do we
disagree
agree?
with.
Do we disagree? Do we
Yeah,
think it's
we thought
necessary?
that'd be really fun.
All of these things. So
Yes.
we've looked up some standard Pinterest lists that you guys would probably look up whenever you're expecting a baby and thinking, what is going to work best for me?
Yep.
And I will say, it may change with every child you
yeah.
have. Because whereas like with Boston, I wanted everybody at the hospital. It's a celebration. Let's do this. With Juliet, I was like, please don't come. Please, please, please. We will schedule later. I'm going to be tired. So I think that it changes. So take everything that we say with a grain of salt and know that if you do it a different way, that's fine.
Yeah.
This is just our opinion.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely
one of the
changes.
most common ones
Okay.
that people say is visit only if you've been invited to visit.
Period.
Do not show up unexpected. That's for the hospital and the home,
Literally.
in my opinion.
Don't just show up unannounced.
Yeah.
Well, like the hospital, you don't know what we're going through. You don't know, like, if the baby's going through something.
Yeah.
And so showing up unannounced would be so, like, disrespectful to the mom. And
Yeah.
Oh
And
my God. Could you imagine?
We're not super tight either. Like, you're not my sister. You're not my best friend. I don't want you to see me in a diaper. Let's be fair. My body's just been busted open in the most vulnerable way. And I don't necessarily want you coming in there and watching me waddle in my diaper to the bathroom whenever I'm, fresh out of labor.
And then most of them aren't coming to see us.
Right. And it's embarrassing to do that in front of your husband, let alone somebody that doesn't love you unconditionally that way. So I think that can make moms uncomfortable without them even realizing that it would make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't realize that. Like beforehand, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be so ready for people to come and visit me. Like, I'm so excited for that. And then it happens and it is traumatic and things could go wrong during your delivery. Things can go wrong and your perspective changes and you really want to bond with your baby during that time. So that one is for everybody. I feel like you should be aware. And even if it's like 30 minutes before, like check in, don't just come, like just double check that I'm okay with it.
Yeah. If I told you yesterday, well, 12 o'clock sounds like it'll be a good time. Check with me at 11. Hey, is that still working out for you? Because maybe the baby did nap earlier and they've just fallen asleep and now you're going to come and I was really going to take a nap and I needed that break. Those things happen. And try to be flexible to understanding that it's not that we don't want to see you. It's not that we suddenly don't care. We are tired. We are surviving. And we're also changing. It's a big change to become a mom. It changes everything that you look at. I mean, how I watch movies, how I look at the world, the way I carry myself. Everything has changed with being a mother. And it's changed every time I became a mother, even to a new child, So I feel like give yourself the grace to figure that out for yourself without the visitors in your face. And anybody who makes it about them and is like, I need to meet the baby, doesn't have your best interest at heart.
No.
Because at the end of the day, if you're telling them, hey, this is my boundary, and they're pushing back, bye.
And if you feel uncomfortable with that, let your husband tell him.
Yeah.
Because I've had my husband be like, hey, Cindy's just needs time. Let's just wait and let them put it on them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you are feeling emotional about it. Go ahead and put it on them and they should be able to do that.
That brings up something for me. I had a very interesting birth with Boston in the sense that I knew who I wanted to be in the room.
Okay.
And I knew who would want to be in the room. And I didn't, let's just put it out there. I wanted my stepmom in the room with me, right? Really badly, because to me, she is my mother. She's who raised me. She is, when she touches me, it brings me comfort.
Yes.
And so I wanted her there with me.
Yeah.
But I also knew that my biological mom was going to come. And how do you look at her in that most vulnerable moment and say, I don't want you to be in here?
Right.
And it wasn't even that I didn't want her to be in there. It was more that I would feel most comforted if my stepmom was in there with me. And I knew that I was not going to be strong enough to say that out loud, but I also knew that I couldn't put that burden on my husband because there's a lot of trauma that comes behind that as well.
Yes.
My doctor did it.
Yes.
Me and my doctor had a very serious conversation on multiple occasions about what my birth plan was and what was important to me and what I needed from her. And when she walked through the waiting room and realized my stepmom was sitting in the waiting room with everybody else, all she did was point at her and said, I need you to come with me. And she brought her back to the room with me. And then my stepmom was standing there holding my hand, telling me that everything was okay.
Love that.
Let them be the bad guy. If somebody's stressing you out, have your husband tell the nurse, hey, tell them her blood pressure is getting a little high and she needs to be alone.
Yes.
That's
they have ways of doing that.
They have ways of doing that to make you feel more comfortable. Take advantage of it. And you don't have to be the bad guy. I will say I still got the guilt of it. So it certainly doesn't alleviate it, but it will help. And in those moments, you need all the help that you can get.
I love that you spoke up your first baby because I was like,
I was
scared.
And I was too scared to speak up myself, technically. I mean, I had my doctor do it. I mean, I'm just glad that she realized, because whenever the time actually came and they said, who do you want to be in the room? Everyone was in the room with me. And all I said was my husband and my sisters. Because I couldn't say.
Yeah, you couldn't say your stepmom at that moment. Right.
And which is so silly, because I should feel confident enough to say that. It's not my fault that me and my mother have the relationship that we have. I was the child. It was never my responsibility to fix that.
Right.
But it felt like it was.
Oh, I bet.
And it felt like if I don't give her this opportunity, then I'm making our relationship worse. And that's not fair to me, because I'm not bonded in that way.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think how you went about it was more respectable than maybe sometimes parents deserve.
Yeah.
And so for you to even think about that was just like so kind of you. But you had to do what was right for you in that moment.
Yeah.
And that's what we got to do.
So if you're feeling like that, if you feel like a situation like that is going to happen in your birth, talk to your physician, talk to your team, tell them what's going on. Even if you have a different physician that comes in to deliver, if you have like an emergency situation, tell the staff. Have your husband pull the staff to the side and say, here's what's going on. This is what's happened. This is what she wanted.
Yes.
They will make it as easy as they possibly can for you, and you don't have to be the bad guy. You can just focus on having a baby.
Yep.
Because that's the most important thing that you're doing right now. You're literally bringing life into the world.
And you want it to be calm. And
You want it to be how you always
negative
pictured
energy.
it. And a lot of the times, like, you have this idea of what your birth story is going to be like, and then things change.
Oh, for sure.
So then you're kind of devastated in the sense of like, well, I didn't expect to need an emergency C-section, and I didn't want to do. And there's things that you pictured, and you kind of mourn in the sense of like, I didn't get this experience that I always imagined. So make it easier on yourself whenever it comes to the relationships and the people around you. Don't let the people in your space, whenever you're having a baby, stress you out.
Yes.
So.
Period.
And yes, don't show up if you've not been invited.
Please do not.
Because that's not cool.
And then an easy one that just goes without being said. Do not kiss my child.
At all.
Do not kiss him on the head, on the cheek. No, ma'am.
And I don't care if you're the grandma.
I don't care if
And
they're
you're
so
like,
cute.
It's my grandbaby.
No.
Like, I should be able to kiss my... No. If I said you can't kiss my baby, I will thump you so fast if you go to kiss my child. RSV is real.
Throat thump you.
Germs are real. There are things that
It's
happen to teeny tiny babies, and they end up in the NICU because your big germs are too big for them to handle.
Yeah. It's nothing against anybody, right?
No.
We know you love them. We know you want to cuddle them, but I don't want my child to get sick.
Yeah.
I don't want myself to get sick while I have my baby, you know? Just come on, respect that boundary. That goes without being said for anybody.
And
I
it's not
feel like
that
all
hard.
moms will agree on that one.
Yeah.
That one's easy.
It's not that hard to
Right.
not kiss them. You can
Right.
refrain. You're an adult. You can refrain from kissing a tiny child.
Yes.
And if you can't, you don't need to be around that baby. That's weird.
Period.
So
Again.
we agree with that one. And
We
that
do.
kind of comes to, don't come around me if you're sick.
Yes, that's
If
the next
you've
one.
been sniffling, if your child is sniffling, if you think that you could, because you could be asymptomatic, okay? You can literally bring in something and not even know, which I understand, like, you could also be asymptomatic and be like, well, I was feeling fine. That's a genuine mistake, okay? If you knew wholeheartedly, oh, well, you know, my cousin had COVID and we just hung out and had lunch this afternoon, but I'm going to go squeeze on this new baby, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
There's no need. There's time to
You need
wait.
to make sure you are fully healthy, or just wait a little while. Wait, let us get some, days behind us, weeks behind us. Don't rush.
To where you're feeling good. Take some ginger shots.
Send dinner.
Send dinner. Can we talk about how great that is?
Oh my God, that's the best.
That's
my
the
go-to
best.
as a mom, that I will send people dinner after they have a baby. I think I've done it for literally like everybody. We had Nate and Grace on our podcast a few weeks ago. They had a few months ago, they had a baby, and I didn't want to know nothing else. I sent them the gift card. I didn't even say nothing because I just knew if that happened to me, I'd be like, oh my God, I don't gotta think about dinner.
That's just the best thing on the planet, because you think you're going to be able to handle it all,
Yeah,
and
no.
you can. But God, is it a relief if you don't
A relief
have
to not have to. Yeah.
If you don't have to.
Someone to take little things like that away from you was glorious.
I like the rule of, like, if you're going to come over, help me. Don't just stare at me. Like, if you see that I need to take a shower,
Yeah.
can you offer me 10 minutes to hold the baby so that I can take a shower? Or, one of my friends would come over, and if there was dishes in the sink, she'd just start rinsing dishes and talking to me and being like, how have you been? And just trying to help. And I think that is obviously saved for, like, your very close friends that you
Yes.
have that bond with.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, those are really the only people you should be letting in your bubble in those first couple of weeks, is your closest family and friends. Everybody else can wait.
Yeah.
They can wait.
Yeah. Anybody now listening, like when you're going into a home, someone invites you, a new mama, or experienced mom, whatever. The first thing you need to ask is what they need, because sometimes, like Paige says, I do want you to hold my baby so I can take a shower, but sometimes I want to sit there with my baby while you just talk about random things or do my dishes. My mom is queen of this. She will literally walk in my house and collect every laundry basket from her. Don't ask me. She just does it because I'm going to say no. And she'll collect every laundry basket and she will start laundry. And I'm telling you, she'll flip it and do it all. And she has done that ever since I've had my son. We'll walk in and just do it. She won't ask me. Now to this day, she'll come over and she'll do the dishes in the sink. And I'm like, Mom, you don't got to do that. She goes, yes, I do. I love these kids too. They're a part of me. This laundry is a part of them. And if it's going to ease your day as a mom, I'm going to do it. So she doesn't even ask. And so like for her, she can knows that boundary with me. Now, if you don't know that boundary, just go in and say like, hey, sit down. Like, let's just chat. And exactly what she says. Just start washing dishes. And even if the mom's like, no, just be like, oh, no, I want to do this. You know, like it's that easy.
Even rinsing them off, you've done so much more than you realize because you've taken 5 minutes off.
Check the dishwasher. Is it clean? You know?
So that's what it's like to have a mom, huh?
Oh, stop it.
I'm so jealous.
She breaks me when she says that.
So jelly. No, my stepmom's fantastic, you guys. Don't get me wrong. I do have a mom, but
my mom is very hands-on mom.
Yes, we don't live near one another. Even now, she's moved from Hawaii. She's back in the States, lives back in Texas again because her husband has been deployed. He's active duty Army.
Right.
So she's got a lot going on, as well as I have a 10-year-old brother. I have a 10-year-old
she's
brother.
An active mom
she's
too.
An active mom. So, and as well as I have a 21-year-old sister and a 23-year-old brother. So I'm the oldest. I'm 32. I'm meant to take care of myself and do my own things, as well as I'm further down the road than anybody else. So I don't have that village that shows up all the time. And I know that there's other moms that feel that way. So whenever I make these lighthearted jokes of like, oh, is that what it's like to have a mom? I'm not doing anything to discredit my stepmother. She's a wonderful, wonderful mom. But have I always dreamed of like having the mom that comes over and does dishes and talks to you and shoots the shit and like having that relationship? Yeah. I hope to have it with my daughter. Yeah. I hope to be able to be that person for my daughter if that's what she needs from me as her mother.
Oh, I feel so lucky. Like when we were like, do you have help? And I'm like, yes. Like my mom and my dad are incredible. Oh my God.
This brings me to a topic.
I already know what you're going to talk about. I already know what she's going to say because it literally brought to mind too. But anyways, I'm lucky, you guys.
As soon as you
I do not discount that. Like if you have that, you just feel like I can do it all because my mom will help me. And not everybody has that. And I'm so sorry but one day you're going to be that mom. Yeah, I know what she's about to say right now because we had a discussion.
There's a video online. And you know what? Let me just start by saying this.
You guys have seen the video.
You've seen the video. If you haven't, you're about to be like, girl, what the This video is so sad to me because it's so obvious that this girl, this mother, just doesn't understand that she can have a different experience than other moms.
Right.
And it's so frustrating. There is a woman online who went online and decided to do like a get ready with me style video. And the first thing she says is, I'm just going to say it. Being a stay-at-home mom is easy. It's not hard. And I think that y'all are actually just over-exaggerating and saying that it's really hard because it's the popular thing to do now.
Yeah.
And I'm a working mom. I have a corporate job. And me and my husband and my mother all take care of my 6-month-old son. And it's not hard.
I don't send my child to daycare because I have my husband and my mom.
Right.
Yeah.
So in my brain, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh, so you have a lot of help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. You have
help.
3 adults to 1 6-month-old.
Yes.
That's cool. Can he move yet? Is he mobile? Is he getting into things? Has he yet destroyed a makeup palette, sister? Because you don't get to say that motherhood is so easy when you've been in it for less than a year.
So she got torn to shreds, you guys, and you know I'm not about that life. Yeah. I am not about that life.
I just don't like the divide that she's created.
That's what it is that we are stay-at-home moms. I don't count myself as easy. No. I don't think being a working mom is easy.
Yeah.
Like I've said before.
I don't think either of these things are easy.
Being a mom in all aspects, we are valuable to all. If you are a working mom, you are valuable. If you are a stay-at-home mom, you know, if you're half and half. And so it came off really harsh because
she intended it to.
So I thought she was rage baiting, you know, because
that's what Cyndi said.
This has been done by how many people? Yeah. Every year there's somebody coming out saying it's easy to be a stay-at-home mom. And like, you know, the reaction you're going to get. Yeah. So I'm like, oh no, she's got to be rage baiting because after that she didn't respond to anything.
No, she did. Well, she said some of y'all in my comments are interesting. First of all, when she said, while stay-at-home moms have responsibilities, and rolled her eyes and squinted them as she said responsibilities, as if I don't keep my child alive all day. That's a pretty big responsibility, sister. My main thing is you are actually trying to cause a divide between stay-at-home moms and working moms. I can't imagine how hard it is to wake up every day at 5 a.m. and pack your kids and get all the things and get to work by 8 and do all those things. But I've also had working moms say to me, I can't imagine never getting a break. Because when you go to work, that is somewhat of a break from your children. And I think that's what people aren't listening. They're not listening to, because they're like, oh, well, I don't need a break as a mother.
Both are hard.
Both are hard. Both are so freaking hard. But the person that I work with all day long doesn't speak proper English yet. And whenever I tell her no, doesn't understand.
I don't get a mental break.
Right. I don't talk to
child.
any adults. I don't do anything mental. I mean, I can't even go to the bathroom by myself. But both are hard.
And the problem is that the divide is not fair, because the moms who have to go to work also have guilt.
Oh, hell
they
yeah.
hate, like, you know, although they
feel like they're leaving their kids.
Although they're like, okay, I do get a mental break from them, I still have guilt that I'm like, okay, well, I got to pick them up at 5 from daycare and I only get 2 hours from them. I see that guilt.
Am I doing enough?
Yes.
And I have to work because otherwise I'm not providing for the family. Oh, there's just so much guilt around it.
And that's why it made everybody mad.
That's why it made me so freaking mad, because I was like, girl, you already know how much we are divided and how much we are pit against each other. Yeah. And frankly, I'm just so tired of women on women crime. And it's the most that you see. Women are just out to ruin each other's lives just because they dislike each other.
When she said in the video, she said like, well, on a Saturday, I clean my whole house in 2 hours and then I'm bored. And I'm just like, sister, that's not it. First of all, we all carry the load of our children differently. Yeah. What's easy to you is not easy to you.
Right. And that doesn't make my experience any less than yours.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, yes, I could also clean my house on a Saturday morning in 2 hours, but guess what? It ain't going to be clean right after that. I have 3 kids, 2 kids running around. And life happens. And so, like, I think that's what it was. And this is why I thought it was rage baiting, because I thought there's no way that you got to think this way. And I've seen the comments that said like, oh, it's giving jealous. And although it could, because she does look very sad behind her eyes.
She does.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say a working mom is jealous of a stay-at-home mom, because both are hard. Nonetheless.
Oh, but Cyndi, she works from home.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. She said, I go to my corporate job. No, she doesn't. Because then the next day she uploaded a day in the life video of her sitting down at her kitchen counter after she did her makeup uninterrupted. Keep in mind, no child interrupted her while she was doing her makeup or getting ready. Yeah. Not at all. Not even a sound. And she says, oh, you can't get ready during their nap. You've not hit that stage yet. And I get it. I get it, because it does feel, you do get confident around that 6 to 8 month period. You're like, holy shit, I've got this.
They're sleeping a little better.
And then they start moving. And then things change. But she works from home with her husband and her mother helping her, and had the nerve to turn around and say, you stay-at-home moms actually have it easy and you're being dramatic. That's where I'm like, I would never look at a working mom and say, yeah, well, you get to take a break, and so you don't have it as hard as me. I can't imagine how hard you have it, because I've never done it. So I truly can't imagine it, but I sure as shit wouldn't invalidate it.
When I first initially watched that video, I was like saddened, because I was like, well, what I'm doing is actually really valuable for my family. And I do have a hard time sometimes. And I'm like, well, shit, man, like, I guess I'm whining, but I'm like, but I do have a hard time carrying this load all day long. And so like, she was invalidating a whole group of moms when we're not trying to do that.
Right. We're not doing that to you. We certainly didn't turn to you and say you're so privileged because you get to leave and go to work, which that's just not the case.
We see the side of that is not what you want. You know what I mean? We see the mom guilt of that. And so like, I think that's what made a lot of people upset.
There are moms in their houses that are struggling so hard mentally that their only escape is to get on TikTok, and they watch someone from their bathroom uninterrupted doing her makeup with saying 3 people to help her with a 6-month-old, saying it's easy and you need to just suck the shit up. Girl.
I think she learned a valuable lesson.
One could hope.
Maybe not though, but...
If anything, I hope that y'all hear this and understand that whether you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom, you're doing something so valuable for your family and your children.
Absolutely. So, I do agree with that completely.
That's all I have to say about that.
I got a little...
Now that we're sweating. That just was, I agree with you. It's rage baiting. Yeah. Because it's like, what response did you actually think? Did she actually think she was going to get a bunch of working moms on there? It's like, you're right, girl. We should be friends because I agree with you. They all suck. What the fuck? What were you thinking?
But I'm telling you, there's always one that comes around. There was somebody last year who said it too. And I was like, Girl, you can't be for real right now.
Bored.
Even if that's what you believe, I'm just like, you can't pit us against each other.
Some of our thoughts are supposed to be inside thoughts. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh, goodness. So a lot of the next ones we're talking about boundaries. So should we bring Jay in? Because I would love to hear his perspective on some of them. Or do you have another one you'd like to do?
No, yeah. Come on over, Jay.
Let's do it.
Come on over. Come on over,
Jay.
baby.
Alrighty, guys. Jay is back.
guys.
Jay's Corner.
Now, I do think we should have a dad's perspective to what y'all just said.
I know.
Give it to me.
Yeah, we sent Jay the video too.
Yeah, we did.
I
Our
was on
group
the
chat
stage.
was on
And Jay is
fire
a
that
working
day.
at home dad. He is a working parent.
Lord almighty.
Of 5.
I think I sent them
of
like
5?
a 3-minute
Yeah.
message
Voice
where
memo.
I was like, like just spitting out.
Because he works, has
Yeah.
5 children, homeschools a child.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, even dads can be upset whenever they see that type of invalidation.
That's right.
Yeah, because first of all, I hate the divide. I swear that sometimes on social media, there always has to be a divide. It's one or the other. And I feel like people always have to put someone down to feel better about themselves. And that is the worst thing ever. If you have to do that to make yourself feel better, there's therapy. So I don't like the divide, right? Both contribute. And every family is different. What works for you will not work for you. Like our lives would probably not work for each other.
Right.
That's okay. Right. I didn't like that. I also think that it came across a little bit entitled, in my opinion.
Yes.
And the fact that she works from home, I work from home. And the reason why I'm able to have 4 kids at home, homeschool, and work full time is because I have such a flexible schedule. Like I've said that 1,000 times. So
Yeah.
we just started homeschooling last week. And I had so much anxiety because I didn't know if my boss was going to allow me more flexibility or what was going to happen with my schedule. I was
Right.
going to prioritize Grayson no matter what.
Right.
And so for her to be, my boss was like, hey, it's okay. We're Gucci. And I said, okay. So I have that flexibility. So just from what I can see, first of all, her child is very young. So they take long naps. So yeah, you can get a lot done when your child sleeps 3 hours.
Or they're in a little
for every
area.
Naps. And
Yeah.
they're not very mobile.
Yeah.
Right. And then the fact that she works from home, let's be fucking for real. Right? I'm sure her schedule is flexible. If she is doing work on the kitchen counter, her job is extremely flexible where
Right.
she can stop and go do something, stop
Right.
and get a bottle, stop and do this. So that is where I think it's privileged or entitled to say, oh, I mean, I could easily do it and say, guys, I work from home. I have 4 kids at home and I homeschool full time with the job, get it together, be better parents. But why do that?
Right.
So it drove me a little bit crazy. And what Paige said, that sometimes our thoughts,
Need to stay.
that was like,
Stay inside of our head.
Word vomit. I feel like that video was word vomit. And
I
even as a
can't
dad, I
imagine
didn't like it.
posting
She got up to do her makeup to tell us
that
that-
stay-at-home moms are.
yeah. It shouldn't have been out there. That one should have stayed. That should have stayed in the drafts.
I cannot wait for her child to be older. And I'm not wishing her bad, but for her to realize that
Yeah.
it's
And even if her 1-year-old is easy for her, right? Chasing around 1-year-old is easy for her. That doesn't like make us less than. That's what's wild
That's
to
what
me.
I hope she realizes, is that I hope in her motherhood journey she realizes that she doesn't have to invalidate other moms in order to feel good about her form of motherhood.
No. Jay has-
you can feel good and feel like I've got this shit
Oh my
without
gosh.
looking at somebody else and being like,
For
it's not that hard.
For sure. Jay has 5 children, little children.
Makes it look easy.
Makes it look easy. And I have 3 and I'm having a hard time sometimes. But he would never be like, well, I have these 5 kids and you can't handle yours.
Yeah.
Like there's no comparison. What he can handle, I can't handle. I couldn't handle 5 children.
we shouldn't compare each other.
No.
You know what I mean?
You're
Like,
doing a great job. I'm doing a great job.
Whatever your normal, whatever your life looks like, you're doing great. And don't let some person on the internet make you feel less than.
That's right.
Because that's not what social media is about. And I hope, all I say is when you're on social media, you should follow people that motivate you, uplift you, and inspire you. And that did not do any of those 3. And I said,
That's right.
bye.
Block.
So we've been going over the list, Jay, of things we would like to
Yes,
keep
I love
doing or whatnot. So we have some in here that not are only just for newborns, but for children in general. And the next one is disciplining your children. Do you think that others should discipline your children? Like, how does that go for you? Let's say grandparents are around. Yeah, this is what's the one that like some people do allow their grandparents to like discipline their children. So I wanted to know, how do you guys feel about that? How do you feel?
I think that our family members should be able to call attention to our children. Small things.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
it is something where it is a little bit more where a conversation is needed or intervention is needed, then they should get the parents.
Keep them safe. Right.
Keep them safe and just say, hey, you shouldn't be standing on the table. Keep them out of danger. But anything other than that that requires a strong conversation or anything like that, it should be handled by the parents. You should say, hey, sweetie, get off the table. And then say, hey, Cyndi, your son's about to jump off the table.
Right.
Right? Something like that. Versus, don't do that and start reprimanding. I would not like that. The other thing is that everybody's parenting style is completely different. So
Absolutely.
how you parent your child is going to be different from hers and vice versa. So if you go and approach another child that's not yours with a different approach, it's not going to go well.
No.
So in my opinion, I think that we should just parent our own children and other people should just intervene if needed.
Even on that, I parent each child differently.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because what works for one child doesn't work for the other. Like with one of my kids, if my head doesn't spin back around and go 360 and I don't, right now, there's just la la land. We don't give a crap what you're saying. But the other one, if I even raise my voice whatsoever, will be like,
They're emotional.
they're just different in that sense.
And then other people from the outside, they don't know that.
Correct.
So like if one was to try to discipline one of your children that way, then you're going to have to deal with that. And you're like, well, why would you even, I don't know.
And that also brings me to do you remember whenever your teachers could spank you?
Oh my,
Randomly,
that never
you
happened
could
for
get
me.
sent to the,
That was a Texas thing.
Yeah.
They weren't spanking nobody in California.
Oh yeah, no, that was a
Well, I
Texas
was in
thing.
New Mexico and I don't recall that.
They had paddles.
Did you get spanked?
Yes,
Paige.
yes, absolutely. I believe it.
Did Ben get spanked?
I believe it stopped whenever I was fourth
Ben
or fifth
did.
grade, but I'm pretty sure I was in second grade and I got spanked by the principal. Yeah.
Oh my
So.
God. That's interesting. So for
You know what? I do. It was a paddle.
yes,
I guess I
did it
It's a
happen to
paddle.
you though?
No, it didn't happen to me. But yes, you could go to the principal's office and they would.
Well, I feel
Wasn't
like-
it called swatting.
Yes, it was called
it was a
swatting.
swat.
It might have held on a little longer in the southern states.
Yeah, I think so.
That's crazy. So I'm all for protecting my kids. So if I'm with Jay and Paige and my child is on top of theirs or going downstairs, please go ahead and say, "Hey, Bear, get down," and then Cyndi tell them,
Yeah.
know. But if my child is in the way, please come and get me because I also have to discipline my children differently.
Well, and I think that they'll listen to you more than me. I think if I discipline, then I'm just
They're like,
if I
"Why?
were to
Shut
discipline
up."
Bear,
Yeah.
he'd be like, "Dang, she's
She-
rude.
she is
What the
mean."
heck?"
Honestly, I'm fun, Uncle Jay.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Y'all can be the mean ones.
true.
I am fun,
Exactly.
Uncle Jay. So I'm like,
Well, we're very aware of our children, though.
Yeah.
I can see Bear from across the room what he is doing. I'm like, you know what I mean? We're very on top of our children, though. But some aren't, and that's okay. But yeah, don't be trying to whoop my children. I don't do
Agreed.
that, so please do not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, goodness. Alrighty, so another one on the list is that if my child is crying, give them back to me.
Back to me. Me.
No matter the age.
I don't care if you feel like you're the magical comforting touch. I am. I want my child.
Yes. As soon as they start crying, just oh, here you go. You know?
Yeah, and oh my God, don't fight me on it. Oh my God, don't fight me on it. They're
no.
fine. I've got this. It's okay. Mommy, you just go over there. I've got...
No.
Girl.
You're giving me
We're
more
about to
anxiety.
tussle.
You're
Give
literally
me my
giving me
baby.
more anxiety.
Yeah, literally. Because hearing the baby cry gives me anxiety. And then I
Yes.
know they need to be comforted, and you're just standing there trying whenever I can do this. I got the magic touch. Hand me my
Yes.
baby. So,
I think it's interesting. So for me, I'm like, who's there when my children are crying? It's really only my mom or Kyler's family, and usually they'll come directly to us. But I also think that, let's say your child is crying, and then an adult says, "Don't cry."
Oh.
yeah.
That would be like, let me stoop in real quick. Excuse me. We teach our children to communicate and to feel their emotions. And
Yeah.
so we're definitely not going to
And that it's healthy.
tell them to stop crying.
Oh, my goodness.
But that's what comes to mind when you think of that. Because, for the most part, the kids, no matter where we are, if they cry, they come directly to either Kyler and I. So
Yeah. So do you have boundaries for each one of your children? Do you know their boundaries? You set boundaries?
They're kind of young to have boundaries just yet.
Well, for you, Paige, I know that you're very protective over Boston.
Absolutely.
And you're very aware of the people around you. So, for you, I feel like sometimes you are putting up boundaries because who's judging my child? Who's watching me parent? You know what I mean? And so, that's kind of what I mean.
And Boston is very different than other children as he's on the spectrum. So how I parent him is going to be different. I'm going to be more patient with him
Right.
as he understands things. and he's gonna have more outbursts than other children. So the stares and the judgment is something I've become very aware of as an autism mom. So I do protect him in the sense of like, if I don't trust you, you will never see my child. He does not go to dinner with us whenever we have these big family dinners and things, because I don't know those people around us, and nobody's going to look at him like he's less. So I keep him in a comfortable and safe space. Also because I feel like he thrives more there.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want somebody to look at him and be like, God, why does your kid act like that?
Yeah.
Or to say something like that to him.
Yeah.
Because he's absolutely wonderful. He's perfect.
Yes.
He's a great kid. But does he randomly start headbutting? Yeah, because he stems, and that's one of his stems. And if somebody was to look at me crazy, I want to believe that I'm healed enough that I wouldn't pop off. But there is a protective part of me that would be like, what the fuck are you looking at?
Yeah.
So I do protect him in a different way than even Juliet. And, she's a baby.
Yeah.
So it's very different.
Yeah.
And even, so Boston and Dylan are both on the spectrum. And Dylan is old enough to have his own boundaries and to express himself and to say what he expects from us as parents. So even my boundaries with Dylan are different than they are with Boston. So, I mean, it's just kind of, you parent every child differently. And every child has a different boundary and what you feel comfortable with for them. Yeah. And so I think that learning who they were and what worked for each child was the only way that I could get anything to work for me.
Yeah. And I feel like Jay's maybe not thinking of this, but so Jay's children are adopted. Yeah. And so I think that Jay has a very protective over his kids, because people don't know what his children have been through.
Right.
And so sometimes, and Jay will get so emotional about this because he has seen them where they've came from. And so someone will say something, about one of his children. And he's like, well, yeah, they respond this way because of that, or don't talk to them because they have this trauma. And so you are protective in that way. You have a boundary.
I am. So one of the things is that people, on TikTok or on my lives, they'll constantly say, oh, tell me what happened. Why
were they in foster care?
Right.
Why are these children in foster care? And I was like, honestly, it's none of your fucking business.
And it's not.
It's not your business to tell.
No.
Yeah, so that's one of our things is that even though we're on social media and we share a lot of our lives, right, we have put that boundary where we do not talk about other people's stories. And I can relate to this in many parts, right? As a foster parent, I'm not going to go and tell somebody else's trauma. Right. People always want to know, well, what did the parents do? And it's like, well, it's none of your business. If that person is on social media telling their business, then go find them.
Right.
And they will tell you their story, but that's not my story to tell. What my children have been through, that's not my story to tell. That's their story to tell. And if they get older and you're still watching, well, then you'll know.
Right.
But we don't do that. And when people ask me, I immediately say, that's none of your business.
Right.
You can ask me about my experience as fostering, Kyler's, our relationship, anything else. I'm pretty open. I mean, I'm open. Yeah. And so, but there's certain things that I don't. And as a LGBTQ plus person, when people take also the story of saying, oh, this person's gay. It was really big when we were in school is that people were always trying to out other people or call them out. And it's like, that's not your story to tell.
Yes.
It's horrible
it's not.
when someone takes it away from you to tell your story, and then now you have to come a second version of kind of clearing things up and then saying your story. So I'm very big. I don't like that with the kids, and I would say that's a very big boundary for me. And then, as foster parents, one of the things that I have learned is that every child is completely different. And so even as parenting, not just fostering child, every child is different. You cannot approach the child the same way. Right. So it drives me crazy when people say a cookie cutter mentality where all the children are parented the same way everything is doing. So Grayson is being homeschooled. And why isn't it Amor being homeschooled? And I'm like, because Amor is doing great and thriving in this environment.
Every child's different.
Wants to be homeschooled, and so now we're homeschooling him, and this is what's going to be best for this child. This is what's best for this child. Right. Who knows with my other 3 kids if we will homeschool or not? But again, it's tailored to each child, and I think that that's the best important thing is to tailor your parenting approach, the way that you speak to them, the way that you help them handle their emotions, tailored to the child.
That's right. I love that. That's a lesson everybody. Parent your kids differently. It doesn't work for all of us. No. Right.
I agree.
Whew.
Lordy, well, thanks, Jay.
Yes,
Thank you, Jay. Did you have something else for us?
I do.
Okay, tell us.
So we've been talking a lot about some deep things, and I wanted to show some of the ways that y'all can get happy.
Yeah, let's do it.
So I got this thing. I'm telling you, I'm a Pinterest board type of person, okay? And we'll post it on the Instagram so that way y'all can go and check them out.
Yeah, give us a couple.
20 ways to be happier.
Oh.
And so here's a couple of things.
See if
now,
we agree.
Cindy already does one. It's go for a walk.
I
All
do.
the time.
Some fresh air, some exercise, always great. It's like, so if you're in a bad mood or you're in a funk, right, go for a walk.
Yep.
And just the fresh air will kind of just lighten the mood a little bit. A change of scenery is really great.
So great. Good for
So
your
good
kids.
for you.
If you're about to film a video that you're going to shame other people for their parenting, maybe take
Go for a walk.
before filming. How about that?
Drink some water. Touch grass. You know.
So this one's really good, and I like to do this, and it's very random. People think I'm weird, but I like to give random people compliments.
I
Because you
love that.
never know what someone's going through.
Yeah.
And this is in both ways. You never know what the words that you're going to tell somebody is how they are, right? It could uplift them, or they're at the
lowest part of their life.
Yes,
Yeah.
the lowest part of your life, and you kind of give them a little shimmer. So I love giving people compliments, and Kyler.
I
thinks
love
it's so funny,
that.
so we'll be walking down the line, like, "Hey, I like your hair."
I do the same
Aw.
thing, and Mark is like, "You're so funny,"
Yes, kind
and
of.
I'm just like, "I love your shoes.
Anybody
You look
taking
so pretty
pictures?
today."
Yeah, anybody take pictures? I'm like, oh my God, girl, work that.
Yeah, if you're
And you
taking
see
selfies with a
people's
tripod,
light.
I'm like, period. Do you need help?
yes.
Like, what do you
Same.
need, sister? I will help you in that sense.
Oh, that's so nice.
This one's important. Is seek support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Find a support
Obviously,
system that
would
works
help
for you.
to be happier. Like we all know when our moods change, or we know that we've been going through a lot. So maybe seek some support.
I love that. Please do.
Be proud of yourself.
That's hard.
I think that's a hard one because sometimes, for example, for me, I'm a perfectionist, and then that's not realistic with 5 kids. I understand that, but in my mind, I want everything to be perfect, and so sometimes when one little thing is not there, I'm not proud of myself. Or if I have a painted image of what I want the whole day to look like, and it gets ruined for like 10 minutes, I'm like, this was a horrible experience. I wanted it to be an amazing experience for my family, and so I think you just have to take a deep breath and be proud of yourself. Okay, plan for change. What do y'all think of that? Are you a
That's
planner?
difficult. I am a planner, so then when things get like hectic and I feel like I'm out of control, it does make me a little anxious in senses. So I can see how that would, make people happy. I don't know if that one's necessarily for me.
I feel like that is my life because being a foster parent, I'm literally always preparing for change.
Yeah,
I
y'all are
have
calendar
literally had
people.
13 children in the last 4 years. 7 of them being newborns. My life is literally change. And I'm actually like enjoying that. Like, cause my husband just got stay home now and I've enjoyed that change. So I'm leaning into that. So
Yes.
one more, Jay, give us one more and we'll post it online.
Listen to a podcast.
I do this.
I might
No,
have one.
I do. So
I might have a really good one.
A
well,
suggestion, maybe.
I love listening to podcasts. I think it helps, even sometimes as I'm working.
Yeah.
As that I am very grateful to be working from home, and it allows me to be listening to podcasts while I'm at home.
Yeah.
I listen to some podcasts. I listen to Joel Osteen before I go to bed every night.
Yeah.
For like some motivational inspiration, get me to calm down.
Yeah.
type vibe.
And there's a
So-
podcast on everything. Like literally everything. Also audiobooks.
I was gonna say I love audiobooks.
Audiobooks
If I'm
are
like doing the
so nice,
dishes,
yes.
I'm currently going back through Harry Potter.
I love it. Oh, I love audiobooks, but I'm more on like the true crime. I will literally, I'll be going to sleep listening to somebody get murdered. Oh my God. I'm like,
Kyler
this is so
watch it.
comforting.
Investigative Discovery.
This is so great.
That's how Kyler is. So he listens to, when we first got together, he was listening to this podcast, and it's a story about All Smiles Eve. And it's a creepy ass story. And like the first time I was sleeping in his room, and he was listening to it, I was like, oh my God, is this what you fall asleep to?
Literally, like I can have my headphones in listening to it. I'm like with my kids, like making their lunch. And if someone was listening to my head, they'd be like, she's insane.
Mark will be like, you can't watch action movies, but you'll watch murder documentaries. Well,
Yes.
Well, I wanted to share this with you guys, and I think that it's important, like if you're getting overwhelmed or you're kind of feeling yourself, right? Life can be hard.
Yeah.
Try to find different ways to unplug, take a deep breath, and just relax. Whether you pray, you meditate, you have to scream it out, take a hot shower, something
Yes.
to unwind from the day, because life can be hard, parenting can be hard. Easy for some, allegedly, but parenting is hard, and there's really no manual or anything. And
Yes.
sometimes you can be so overwhelmed that you just have to find something that'll make you happy or get you out of that funk.
I agree.
thank you,
That also
Jay.
comes into like unfollow anybody that's making you feel like
yes.
shit about
Yes.
yourself. Because if you're online and somebody is making you feel bad, or like you see someone, you see their videos and you just get the ick or you just get angry, block them.
Block them. I was going to say, don't
Block
even unfollow, block them so they don't
straight up,
show
so
up.
you don't ever have to see them again because you don't ever have to see them again.
No.
This world is big enough where you could just be
Right.
like, goodbye.
Yep.
And there's a creator for everybody. There's,
Yeah.
whatever your vibe is, whatever your beliefs, whatever you like.
Yeah.
Go find that and be happy within that little thing. But you should go to social media to learn something, be motivated, to be happy.
Yeah.
Anything like that. That's what I think social media is for.
Lots to learn
I
on there.
agree.
Thank you, Jay.
Jay.
We'll post the rest of these on our
Yes, we'll post it
Instagram.
on Instagram, okay?
Thank you, Jay.
Awesome. We dance to this every time, you guys, because it's just fun.
It is. It really is.
But no one else in this room can hear it, so we just kind of look a little silly since it's in our headphones.
So this was fun. The list was fun. There's a lot of boundaries we got to have.
There's a lot of boundaries, and I think you should absolutely set them for yourself and for your children. I think it's a good idea to look up some that other moms are saying this is the way to go.
That's right. That's right. Take advice from those mamas.
It's a learning process.
Oh,
y'all.
this was so fun again, Paige. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cyndi.
All right, you guys, subscribe to us. Every Tuesday we drop an episode. And as always, I'm Cyndi.
And I'm Paige.
And this is Mom's the Word.
where we keep the giggles going.
And the love flowing.
And until
next
next time,
Mom knows best.
Or at least she's trying her best.
Bye, guys.